All right, everyone. Welcome to today's The Expat Woman Show. I'm really excited to be chatting with Charlotte Van Horn, who is the founder of Black Expats in Panama. She was also a speaker at the recent The Expat Woman Summit, and she's going to be talking about expat life and business in Panama. But before that, very briefly, let me introduce myself. I'm Nyna Caputi. I'm the founder and CEO of the Expat Woman, which is a global community of women who are living abroad, want to move abroad, or who have repatriated. And we provide support, resources, and connections and collaborations so they can survive, thrive, and lead successful lives abroad. And I'm also the host of the Expat Woman Show, which we stream every week on Tuesday at 9 a.m. PST. And usually it's an interview with an expat leader, influencer, service provider expert like our friend here, Charlotte. So, Charlotte, I'm going to get right into the question because I've never been to Panama. I love traveling. So, and I know you're originally from the US. So, maybe tell us a little bit about your backstory. What did you do when you were in the US? And then what inspired you to make that big change and, move your life to Panama?
Okay, well, hi, everybody. Listen, Nina, you are amazing. Let me just say that you are amazing. You're a great interviewer. You're an amazing organizer, and that is something that I definitely realized about you during the summit. I want to thank you for having me on the show and allowing me to be a panelist during the summit, and also just thank you for helping me to broaden my expat community as well. And, being that I specialize I'm a Black expat living in Panama. That's what I do. That's the name of my business. That's the name of my group. And I love doing it. But it was also very interesting to spend that time with other expats and then people who were reverse expats, people who call the US. I had hardly ever think about that. So I just want to thank you. I want to thank you. As far as me, I was raised in a small town in South Jersey, New Jersey, called Glassboro. The way that I ended up in Panama was I met a man in 1993. On November 7th in 1993, I met a man, and he is Panamanian. And the first thing he let me know was that I met him in Biloxi, Mississippi, of all places. And the first thing he let me know was that when he was retired, that he would be moving back to Panama. And I was like, okay, well, that's nice. I didn't know what Panama was, but I figured that was nice. I didn't see any way that I would ever leave the United States at that point. I thought to myself, why would anybody want to live anywhere else? And I think that the United States has done a good job on that propaganda, because I truly believe that for a long time. And there are a lot of other people that still believe that. Make a long story short, fast forward 31 years, we're still together. When he retired, before he retired, we started, thinking about making that transition. The first time I came to Panama was in 2004. It was when I first got my passport, and me and my daughter came to visit, and it just gave her the bug for traveling, and she travels all over the world now. And I thought, wow, this is pretty nice. Not to the point where I thought I wanted to move here, but just to the point where wasn't what I was expecting. I was just expecting something very primitive, and you know what I mean. And there was some rough patches compared to the United States as far as what I was used to, but it was a lot more than I expected. And so we started coming back for some years, and then we started getting closer to retirement. So we happened to look at this community here back in 2010 or 2011, and we bought our first home in 2012. So that is how I ended up here. When this business started, it was during COVID. And I had started a Facebook group called Black Expats in Panama because there was nothing out there. There was nothing out there for Black. There was a lot for expats, but nothing for Black expats in Panama. And I was going to bring my hair business to Panama when I eventually retired here. So I needed to start, reaching out to Black expats, because they would be the ones who I would serve, because I was a Sister Locks brand ambassador, and that's like tiny locks that Black people put in our hair. And I knew that from the price point, the average Panamanian would not be my main client, you know. So I needed to start looking for expats. Got the page rolling. I spent 2 years building it up, coming back and forth, you know, to our home, making little videos, did my first little get together with other Black expats. I built the page 200 in the first year. And then that day in May 2020, and I always have to say this, COVID, Karen in the Park, George Floyd, and the political climate in the United States collided. And that's when my life changed. So I went from 200 people in a year to 2,000 by the next year. And now we have close to 8,000 in just that one group. And people started to wonder what it's like living outside of the United States, Black people in particular, and the next wave of the Blaxit, Black people leaving the United States, occurred. That's how I ended up getting started. People started asking me questions like, what's it like to live there? Are there Black people there? Is there police brutality there? How do you get your residency? Can you work there? And what is healthcare? And I was like, I need to build a tour, you know, because I had done some touring before with groups. And so we worked on building a team here in Panama. And I offered my first tour probably by June or July of 2020. And the first tour took off in May of 2021. So we are celebrating our third year. In May of 2024 is our third year, and I just completed my 27th Black Expats in Panama Cultural Relocation Tour. Ta-da!
Yeah, congratulations. That is so impressive. I mean, you built this business during a COVID, you know,
Okay.
and you know what I love with many expat stories is we go to the country for different reasons, and then the country kind of gives us clarity on what is our like kind of God-given purpose, right? Like
Yes.
I came to the US to study film, and now I run the Expat Woman, and I'm a LinkedIn coach and trainer. Neither of those things ever entered my head, right? So
Wow.
it's just, you know, yeah, it's just, I think when you step out of your comfort zone and you move to a new country and there's so many unknowns, and even if you know, the country has everything you want, there's so many challenges and hurdles. And I think that just, and I think being exposed to different culture opens your mind. And yeah, so I love it. And I just want to welcome all those who are joining us. I see Michelle Jackson. She says, hello, good afternoon, and woot woot. Thanks, Michelle, and whoever else is watching.
Hola. Hola, everybody.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to ask you about Panama. Like, you know, in case there are people who want to move there, because I have a lot of women and, you know, men as well in my expat community who are, you know, always looking for that next move, or some of them are still living in their current country but are looking to move somewhere else. And let's, so in this case, because you are the expert on Panama, what are some reasons people should move there? Maybe we'll start with the US perspective because I'm from the US, you are originally from the US, so maybe let's compare to the US in terms of housing, in terms of health insurance, in terms of getting a visa. Could you share, you know, say someone wants to move to Panama in the next few months, what are some of the things they need to keep in mind and know about or become aware of before they move?
I think the main thing, particularly for those who are still working, you need to make sure that you're in a profession that will allow you to work here in this country. Panama is very protective over its professions. So basically, if you're not a Panamanian citizen, you are ineligible for a lot of work. So you need to make sure that you'll be able to work here. That's number one. You definitely need to make sure that you understand what part of Panama you want to live in. Of course, there's some parts of Panama that are less expensive than others, just like the United States. Do your research. Don't, you know, you still have people coming here thinking that they can rent a house for $450. It's not happening. You know, it's really not going to happen for you. Let me just burst your bubble. It's not going to happen. You know, more than likely, if there's some place that you can live for $450, you know, here you wouldn't want to live there because you were probably already living above that standard in the United States. I don't know most people who want to leave their home country to go live in another country at a lower level than that they were living. You want to come to Panama and be able to maximize your United States resources. The good part about it is that a lot of people that come to Panama, it's a very, very popular place for retirement. So you can come here and you can live relatively well on a base, an average U.S. retirement. As far as the health care goes, I think healthcare and health insurance are two different things. As far as the healthcare goes, the healthcare that I have received, and there's a lot of other expats that will attest to this, the healthcare that I have received in Panama has just absolutely made the healthcare in the United States look like a shame, honestly. And that's something that a lot of times people are very surprised to hear because, like I said, the United States gives you, we have this way of making people think that we are the best that there is. And to be able to have a doctor that calls you, a doctor that you can WhatsApp with, a doctor that is not bound to a 10-minute window with you, it's invaluable. It is invaluable. With regard to health insurance here, I can't speak in details about what insurance is accepted here. You have to find that out. Find out how your insurance works in an international space, first of all. Then the thing that I do know is that you can get insurance here. You can get insurance, and a lot of expats, snowbirds, or people that come back and forth. It's not like you've given up your Medicare or whatever insurance you have in the U.S. necessarily. And I wouldn't do that right away. Really, I would come, make sure you know what you're doing, make sure what's accepted. But the thing that I would say about the healthcare and the health insurance is that forget everything that you know. That was good advice for me. Forget everything I know about the United States. This is Panama. When it comes to healthcare and health insurance in particular, absolutely forget about it. The price of things here are sometimes you can get procedures and things done here for less than you would have paid a copay in the United States. So if it's something that you need medically, look into that in particular, and see what the availability is. If you are on a particular drug, make sure that Panama has that drug. Sometimes they'll have the drug, but it might be in different milligrams. And so if you're on something and it's going to be a 50 milligram, you're on 50 milligrams and they're only have it here at 25 milligrams, know that you're going to have to buy double. And how is that going to look for you? And compare it. And then a lot of things here in Panama, you can buy over the counter. A lot of things that require a prescription in the United States, you can buy over the counter here. So those kind of things to figure out. I mean, I think honestly, if you really want to, and I'm not just saying this, because I am a Black expat in Panama and I do cultural relocation tours. You don't even have to take my tour. But if you're really thinking about moving to another country, do something organized. Get that information. When you come on our tour, I connect you with the doctor, the realtor, the lawyer, and all these people are vetted and on my team, the insurance broker, the moving company. You have all of the resources that you need right there to ask all of the questions. You save time and money. And then we speak Spanish here. So in addition to it being a new place and everything being written in Spanish, it's spoken in Spanish too, that creates another hurdle. You need the support.
Wow. So much you've unpacked here. I mean, there's so much information, and I have so many questions. Anyway, before that, I want to welcome Deborah and Jada. They both say hola, so maybe
hola, they must be Panama.
I love it. So we are going to get. I want to definitely ask you about starting your business and what do you cover. You covered briefly about the relocation tour, but a couple more questions about Panama. Mm-hmm. Did you speak Spanish before you moved there, and do people need to know Spanish before they move, or can you manage initially with English? Like, would you mind sharing about the
Oh,
language?
sure. No, I did not speak Spanish. And everybody says, yeah, but your husband's Panamanian and he's bilingual. But like I said, I did not speak Spanish at all, and it's like kind of with Spanish, like some other things, unless you're just really focused on learning it. If you don't use it, you don't use it, you don't, whatever. And so I did not speak Spanish here. And, but there are a lot of people when I arrived here, but there are a lot of people that come here and do not speak Spanish. One of the things that we do as Black expats in Panama is we have a meetup. Every fourth Sunday, we have brunch, and I have this little cheat sheet, and we practice introducing ourselves, asking questions and answering questions in Spanish. We invite our Panamanian families, to come, that people want to learn better English. So, you can do it. There's enough English speaking going on here that you can survive. But I would strongly recommend that if you want to be really proactive, do a Duolingo, or a lot of people really like the Duolingo. They do Babbel, just some things that people say watching soap operas, the novellas, really help them too. If you want to be proactive, you can start, but you can definitely survive here with no Spanish initially.
That's fantastic. Thank you. So let's talk about your business. So again, I'm so impressed because you also mentioned before, I maybe mentioned it live or before we went live, that you were a comedian, then you did hair, and now you run your own relocate not relocation, the relocation tours. So just wanted
Uh-huh.
to, yeah, step back a bit. When you were the stand-up comedian, when you were running your hair business, were those your own businesses, or were you working for someone? Because it'd be interesting to know if you went from working for somebody to then starting your business in 3 years and being so successful.
I am a serial entrepreneur. My main staple, my main business in my life before then was actually I was a legal secretary. So being a legal secretary, I was a legal secretary for 20 plus years. And so sometimes I did things in between, but that was always like my main bread and butter. I started doing stand-up comedian on a carnival ship, and I did that for like a couple of years, professional. And hi, Michelle. Yeah, I did that for a couple of years, professional, but that was my own thing. Locks Forever was my sister Locks business. I did hair for the first time. I started in 2012, I think. And was it 2012? Started in 2012. And I retired from corporate America doing sister locks part time in 5 years. So since January 5th, 2017 at 4 p.m. was the last time I ever worked for corporate America. Have not looked back. I can't believe that this has happened. My intention was to come here to Panama and do sister locks, but with everything happening with Black expats in Panama, I had to retire from that. So I taught a young lady here how to do maintenance on sister locks, and now she has a thriving business. Her name is Tiersa Blandford, and I love her. She does very good work. She's a good person. But yeah, I've always been that entrepreneur. So when I started this, I think that out of all the things that I've done, having the legal background is definitely the plus for me. Knowing how important it is to have things in writing, to have things in agreement. Initially I started out with partners, as we were getting set here, and I am now solo. So I've gone from, in the 3 years since I've been here in Panama, I have absolutely incorporated my business. We are a licensed, and that's a big deal in Panama. We are a licensed tour operator and travel agency. A lot of people who do tours, if you ask them, are you licensed? They cannot answer that question, affirmative. Okay. And so it was very important for us to position ourselves so that we could do this legal and right. And it's just a process, building business in an international space. However, it's worth it. And I feel like my people deserve to make sure that they're dealing with licensed professionals. And so Same when I started doing stand-up comedian. When I became a stand-up comedian, I wanted to offer the people something more. So I took acting classes. I took improv classes, so that I could give greater value. So giving greater value is what I do.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so important that, we
Hmm.
that continued learning, right? You just need to know 10% more than your clients, but then you need to keep upping your game. So I love what you're doing, and I love that
Yes.
you got licensed as a tour operator. You're right, especially in the expat business. I think a lot of people start doing different expat, um, businesses. I'm saying the word again, but yeah, they don't get the training they need. Again, not to knock people, but I can see you've been
Right.
very strategic about it, and I think that's so important. So, and again, I'm asking for Panama specifically, and also for anyone who's moving abroad, and then they, like you came with a different goal set, and then you started the business. What is the strategy with starting a business so you do it correctly in another country, right? So how did you go about, like, this is what I need to do? You had the idea, had that aha moment, but then how did you go about making sure it was all above board? As you said, you got license, all that good stuff.
Giovanna Bernal of Prime Tax and Legal Solutions is my attorney. She's the attorney on my team, the only attorney that I refer business to. She got me set up. I am a strong believer. Like I said, I have a legal background, and I have a legal mind. And sometimes people just don't have a legal mind. You really definitely always need to be considering the law. When there's things that you're doing, you just can't do what you want to do. You need to do things according to the law and the guidelines and regulations that are set in place. So I feel like the best way to do that is definitely you consult the professionals. Don't ask other expats who don't know, who don't have their own business, who just watch somebody else's video like you just watched somebody else's video. No, you go to the people who you can hold accountable for giving you the correct information. I think that we have gotten lazy and feel like, oh, I saw this on YouTube. Listen, everything you see on YouTube ain't real. And everybody that you see on YouTube saying that they're an expert in this, they're an expert, check their background. If you got somebody that is teaching you how to relocate to a particular place and they haven't done the residency process themselves, you need to maybe check on that. So I just think that you need to go to the professionals who you can hold accountable for the information, not talking heads on YouTube and other places. And I need, and not only that, when you're in a country where the contracts are in Spanish, and you might be able to get by, Spanish, because it's never my goal to learn how to write and read Spanish necessarily. My main goal is to be conversational, and I've gotten a lot better with that now. But you go to the professionals, and you can't go to a professional you can't go to a lawyer that doesn't know anything about incorporating a business. You know what I'm saying? You got to go to the right people. You got to vet the right people, and then they can give you the blueprint um, on how to do it.
That's very valuable advice, and I think that takes some research. And I think, in your case, you moved and then started your business. But for people who are looking to start a business even before they move, they know they want to move to Panama, wherever. I think, doing that research. So, you also spoke about not just business, but even when you move to the country, finding out where you want to live. The rents, the healthcare, insurance. Language. I think all that is so important, because otherwise, once that honeymoon period is over and you've, visit this beautiful place like Panama, and then you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to start living, and how do I go about it? But I'd love to talk. We have 6 minutes left, and I have to have you back again because there's so much to chat about. But I wanted you to talk a little bit more about your relocation business, because I think that is such a cool, business, and I've loved how you've grown it. I've been watching you on YouTube and Instagram and all the stuff you do. So, is that so? The Black Expats in Panama, is that the relocation and tour business, or are there other streams of revenue and other areas that you cover besides relocation tours?
Black expats in Panama. Okay, so I used to do Sister Locks. Sister Locks is a corporation, and Sister Locks is a thing. And Black expats in Panama is the same thing. Black expats in Panama is a corporation, and Black expats in Panama, we're a thing, right? And with Black expats in Panama, I actually started Black expats in Panama in 2019. And I did my corporations and everything for the company in 2020. So by the time I moved here, I was well established the business in the United States. So this company is actually established and registered in the United States and also in Panama. And the other thing that I did, and I always like to talk to people because I do small business coaching as well. One of the things I used to do. But get yourself a trademark. Get yourself a trademark. We start things and we think that, it's a little something, something. Mm-mm. Get yourself a trademark. I be racking up trademarks and domains. If you got an idea, if you're putting something out there in the public and it means something to you, make sure you protect yourself. I'll just say that. But yes, it is basically the same thing. Black expats in Panama, we're a community group. We are individuals. And then, of course, then there's the trademark and LLC and SA corporation. With Black expats in Panama, when you come on, there's the question about the tour, right?
Yeah. So now I got it. It's a community. So your business is like an umbrella. One is your community. You do community meetups for people
Yep.
who are already living there. I love you said fourth Sunday where you get together. You'll practice speaking in Spanish. You bring
Yeah.
families who are ready. I love that. And then you also have your relocation and travel. So would love to know more about that. What does it entail? How, just anything about, so people who are listening also can learn more.
Okay, so basically, what Black expats in Panama did, what I did was I took people off of the internet and got them together in real life. That's what we did. That is what we were able. That's what we were successful at doing, was to get people off of Facebook and the internet and bring them into a space. So we have Welcome Wednesdays on third Wednesdays, where we showcase different restaurants and support local businesses, and we meet up. If you're new to the neighborhood, if you're new to the country, if you've been here for a while, if you're passing through, we're going to be somewhere on the third Wednesday at 6 p.m. looking to greet you. We have that's a third Wednesday. Second Wednesday is the Black Expats in Panama, or we go by BEIP, the acronym BEIP B2B Network. And that's happening actually tomorrow on the third Wednesday. We bring Black expats together who are interested in creating synergistic relationships with others and to do business, because you got to be creative here, right? Because of the profession. Then we have the fourth Sunday is the cafe and conversation. And we also have single and satisfied. So we do things for our single community. We're getting ready to take salsa lessons on the 19th. We get together on different Fridays. But regarding the tour is 5 days, usually from the 1st to the 5th. The first day you come and we have a reception dinner. The reception dinner is at 7 p.m. at the hotel where we stay. You meet your attorney, the realtor, the insurance broker, the moving company, and the doctor. Yes, we have a doctor on our team. You meet them, you get the lay of the land for the next of the few days. The next day we do city and suburbs. We take you into different areas of the city and Panama City and the surrounding suburbs. We show you units ranging from, below 200,000 up to 600, 700,000, maybe a million. You see a whole lot of stuff. We show you duplexes, things that are down on the ground, things are up in the sky on our Avenida Balboa. We even got a product we're showing. It's like a nook, almost like a tiny home concept. We work with the best professionals in the city. Then on the next day, we have Afro Panamanian cuisine, for lunch, and we do other cultural things blended in the relocation piece. Then the next day is all cultural. We go to Cologne, which is like a mostly Black area of the Panama City region. We learn about how they have held on to their customs and culture. There's a famous church with a Black Christ in it. We go there. We take boats. We go to an island. We spend the rest of the day on the beach. It's old school, baby. Almost everybody on my tour, they love old music, so we do old school, and it's just a day of bonding where the group is here, and on the only day that I allow other Black expats to join us. So the group that's on the tour gets to meet Black expats who are already living here, get to meet people that are passing through, and just compare different experiences. It's amazing. We make the best friends. The last full day, we go to the beach and we show you living on the beach options. So we go about an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half the other way. You get to see the Caribbean and the Pacific side of Panama. It's an amazing 5 days. We stay connected. The groups stay connected. We go by BEIP number, whatever, like we just finished BEIP number 27. And we have a special edition of the tour we had a special edition of the tour in May. So I didn't want to talk too long. I was trying to do it fast.
This sounds so exciting. And you can see, I don't see the person's name because they're on Facebook, but they say, I'm ready to move to Panama.
She said, ready to move right now. I love it. Come on. Holla at your girl.
Yeah. I love how you've broken up the 5 days, and, it just sounds fascinating. And you have both the practical side of it and the cultural and the fun, and also that people get to meet the local Black expats. Is beautiful. So before we end and I ask you how people can find you, my question is, what is one thing you love about Panama, and what is one tip you have for someone who's either moving to Panama or moving abroad? I know you've shared a couple of takeaways earlier.
Okay, well, one more thing about the tours is that we like to support Afro Panamanian businesses and locals, but definitely we pour into our communities. One thing that I really love about Panama, I just love the peace that I feel here. It's not until I actually relocated and started coming more and everything like that, that I really recognize the difference in the energy between here and the United States. There's a lot of things I love about Panama, but we're being good. And so I'll just say that is the way I feel, the way Panama makes me feel. I feel so happy, y'all. I posted something the other day and it was like, dear life, I love you, period. That's just where I am. And like to be 60 years old and be able to say, I am loving life, it's a blessing to me. I'm so excited about that. And then the last thing, if the word of advice that I would give about anybody that is looking to move to Panama or anywhere, just do as much research as you can. Make sure that the information that you get is vetted and that you don't cut corners when it comes to doing your research. I interviewed Rashida Dow the other day. She is a career break coach. And she said, you're either going to spend money or you're going to spend time, but you're either going to save money or save time. Usually you can't do both. And I say, save the time. If you are going to relocate to any other country, look for somebody that can lead you around and make the best of your time, and vet all of your information providers.
That's a very, very important tip. So thanks for sharing that. I know we're out of time, but I just, because you mentioned about peace and finding home, and for many of us, including me, I love living in the US, but I still feel I'm in two worlds. I'm originally from India. I feel I'm straddling two worlds, and I haven't yet found not belonging, but found my home. So I always envy and admire people who have found that, especially in their expat life. So what do you think is the reason you feel like you didn't say the word home? I know you said you just feel at peace, but I'm assuming you feel like you've found, you feel at home, right? You were right. What do you think is that one thing that makes you feel at peace and that this is where you belong and you feel at home? Is it because you found the business you love doing, or what is it? I'm just right off the top of your head.
I think it's just the reception that I get from people. First of all, I don't stand out here. I don't look like a foreigner. Everybody, 9 times out of 10, when people come up to speak to me, they're speaking to me in Spanish. because they think I'm a Panamanian. So for those that don't know, a lot of Panamanians, Panama is very melanated. So it's like I blend in, but I think it's so much not what Panama is, but it's what the US is not for me. I do not feel comfortable in the United States, for me, and I have to watch myself talking about it because I can get emotional about just how it feels to be in the United States for me. And, have to worry about cops, stopping me. Sandra Bland was just like such a horrifying thing for me. Trayvon Martin, you see all the George Floyd, all of these things that are happening. And although Panama has its issues, I don't have to worry about that so much. And with all the things in life that we have to worry about, I just don't think that being law-abiding citizens, that we should have to be worried about being safe in our own country. We have tremendous contributions to the United States. I say we built the country. I say it out loud, and I know it, and we mean it. And we did it for free. And to have had to suffer and pay so much for, to be able to use the things that our ancestors built and died for. And I just watched this movie by Ava DuVernay, and India is in there. It's very interesting what I learned, and it's called Origins on Amazon Prime. And I ask anybody to see that, and I'll just leave that there. To me, it's hard to put in words. It's hard to put in words, Nyna.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but at the same time, it's good for people.
That's okay.
You're not the first Black expat I've spoken to who has said this. Like and I have to connect you with Lisa Mitchell. She's a really dear friend of mine, and she told me like it's only when she moves abroad that people ask her if she's American. In her own country, she's not seen as an American, but in another country, they, because of her accent, the color doesn't matter. So it's just interesting. Maybe we will at some point have another, a live conversation with Black expats in different countries, because I think it's important for people to know that. So thank you so much for sharing and being so vulnerable. So now for the exciting part, how do people, connect with you, find out more about you, and with the relocation tours? I had one quick question. Do they have to be Black to attend your relocation tours, or is it open? Okay, go ahead.
No, you don't have to be Black. We've had people that weren't Black, but you have to be willing to understand that this is designed for Black people. And if you got a thin skin, or if you're not really interested in Black culture, it's not going to be the tour for you. But we didn't come all the way to Panama to discriminate. Like, it's a hurt people. I'm not trying to hurt people, but, as long as you don't come into my group acting crazy, all are welcome. And that's just, where I am. But how you can find me, I'm Black Expats in Panama everywhere. On Instagram is _TM because it's important. And also the best place is to go to our website, blackexpatsinpanama.net. And we are revamping everything, and we're going to have everything at that website. So start there. You can find all my contact information there, and you can get in touch. And I would love to hear from you. People are always like, oh my God, I can't believe you called me back. Yeah, I did. I'm not trying to talk to you for an hour for free. However, comma, I do return calls, and people say, they want to call and they want to talk. And I love everybody, and I would love to do that. But I have a business to run. And if I have 24 people calling me wanting to talk an hour on the phone, then when am I going to get any work done? So as the business and the group has grown, I've had to place some boundaries around certain things. But I love you. I love you. I love you. Wow. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. We will end on that note of love, but appreciate you joining me today. There was so much you shared, and I would love to visit Panama at some point. It just sounds amazing. And I'm very interested in learning other cultures and the Black culture. So I would be on that tour at some point, hopefully. But yeah, and
I would love it.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who joined us.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and Michelle says you look so happy. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I am. Thank you. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Go ahead, Nyna.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.